got a diamond for a heart. My eyes glow in the dark. They'll never ever hurt me easy. I've got a wither for a soul and many evil goals. I prowl unknown for no reason. Disturbing the villages, I won't give them rest. These shadowy nights I lurk and bring dread. A dangerous man who wouldn't really die. They know my name is Hero Brian, yeah. Through the night, they all fear me. Face my pickaxe, a weapon so deadly. Scorching lights, they can't blind me. With my eyes, nobody can take me. Through the night, they all fear me. Face my pickaxe, a weapon so deadly. Scorching lights, they can't blind me. With my eyes, nobody can take me down. Nobody can take me down. Nobody can take me down. I've got an arrow through my heart, some bruises and a scar. My body is wounded and messy. I've got a wither full of soul and many evil goals. I prowl on over for no reason. Disturbing the villages, I won't give them rest. The shadowy nights, I lurk and bring dread. Dangerous man who wouldn't really die. They know my name is Hero Brian, yeah. The night, they all fear me. Face my pickaxe, a weapon so deadly. Scorching lights, they can't blind me. With my eyes, nobody can take me down. Nobody can take me down. Nobody can take me. Through the night, they all fear me. Face my pickaxe, a weapon so deadly. Scorching lights, they can't blind me. With my eyes, nobody can take me down. Through the night, they all fear me. Face my pickaxe, a weapon so deadly. Scorching lights, they can't blind me. With my eyes, nobody can take me down. 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 Nobody can take me.
Oh, don't you dare run back, just light a torch with me. I said I'm going back. She said shut up and mind with me. These diamonds are my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and mind with me. We were all geared up for a fight. The creepers and the skeletons spawned tonight. Helpless in the darkness, no one in sight. Oh, we were bound to mind together, bound to fight together. She pulled her bow. We hear some monsters nearby. She tossed a sword and she said, oh, don't you dare run back, just light a torch with me. I said I'm going back. She said shut up and mind with me. These diamonds are my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and mind with me. Some worn down gear and nowhere to flee. My wooden sword almost broke, need XP. She made an iron pick and gave it to me. I knew we were bound to mind together, bound to fight together. She pulled her bow. We hear some monsters nearby. She tossed her sword and she said, oh, don't you dare run back, just light a torch with me. I said I'm going back. She said shut up and mind with me. These diamonds are my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and mind with me. Oh, come on, girl. in the mines. I think I see a sparkle, I realize we found some diamonds, she pulled her bow. We hear some monsters nearby, she tossed a sword and she said, oh, don't you dare run back, just light a torch with me. I said I'm going back, she said shut up and mind me. These diamonds are my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and mind. Oh, don't you dare run back, just light a torch with me. I said I'm going back, she said shut up and mind with me. These diamonds are my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and mind with me. Ooh, ooh, shut up and mind with me. Ooh, ooh, shut up and mind with me.
Once there are tales that are told, thought came to be. I'll find our tribe some gold so they'll be happy. Once I was thinking about gold. It was a poor, tough life, our hearts are getting weaker. Dreaming one day we get the riches and no more will suffer. For our meals we're eating seeds or drinking bitter liquor. Never rich and some just starve to keep this steady figure. Once I was dreaming about gold. My brother told me don't go down to the mine, it will be risky. Once I was dreaming about gold. I knew about the mine, of all the dangers against me. So I started crafting swords, prepared to fight these zombies. And all that is so shiny will always motivate me, cause only those that really care will ever really worry. Once I was sent to find gold, my quest was foretold. I'll go by morning sun although I'm lonely. Once I was sent to find gold. Now onward to my goal, hope this won't end in failure. Even though with worst equipment I still fear no creeper. A wooden sword with me, at least in my favor. And if I don't make it back to home, I hope they grant me honor. Once I was mining for gold, my story got told. I was taking almost everything I saw before me. Once I was mining for gold. Soon I'll be hoarding these gold, pass through the stronghold. I traveled under the mine and no more roaming. Soon I'll be hoarding these gold. Time to build up a new life. Brother is excited to see me. Now we can make up a new home and I can tell them stories. All of my tribe are with me. Time to feel alive, so pretty. All these tracks that I left behind may be rich, I feel worried. Soon we'll be trading this gold. Walls to protect everyone. Remember life, and now our life becomes a safer one. But some must felt the envy cause our tribe was so poor once. I hope my village will survive when the mobs start their hunt. Soon they'll be stealing our gold with their undead hearts so cold. And we don't have a lot of weapons for an army. Soon they'll be stealing our gold. Soon they'll be stealing our gold. Bodies dropped into the cold, and I can't save my tribe from this freight. I'm so sorry. Soon they'll be stealing our gold. Once I was mining for gold, a thought came to be. I'll find our tribe some gold so we'll be happy. Once I was mining for gold. Once I was mining for gold.
Reading comprehension access science and fiction reading, science gur for ice cream headache. These are new words to practice. Say each word 10 times. Before or after reading the story, write one sentence that contains at least one new word. New words: forehead, headache, palate, nerve, fiber, receives, alert, intercepted. 80 to non-fiction reading, science gur for 40 teacher created resources. Inc. Eat any flavor of ice cream, and what sometimes happens when one eats any flavor of ice cream, one sometimes gets a pain. The pain is a known's forehead. We call this forehead pain an ice cream headache. Why do we get an ice cream headache? Why does eating any flavor of ice cream sometimes cause our forehead to hurt? The roof of the mouth is called the palate. The front part of the palate is hard and bony. It is called the hard palate. The back part of the palate is soft and fleshy. It is called the soft palate. There is a nerve in our hard palate that connects to our forehead. A nerve is a fiber or bundle of fibers. A fiber is like a thin thread. The fibers connect parts of the body. It connects parts like muscles, glands, and organs to the brain and spinal cord. A nerve carries signals. It carries signals to and from the brain to other parts of body. When one eats ice cream too quickly, one's brain receives, or gets, a message. The brain receives a message that some part of one's face is getting too cold. One's face is getting too chilled. The brain receives the message about cold, but the brain does not know whether it is one's forehead or hard palate that is too chilled. The brain responds by sending a pain alert. The pain alert is a warning signal. The pain alerts or warns the body that it is getting to kill it. Sometimes the pain alert is intercepted. When something is intercepted, it is cut off, it is stopped or seized on the wear. Remember that there is a nerve in your hard palate that connects to your forehead. Sometimes one's forehead intercepts the message, the pain alert message. It is one's forehead that feels the pain. The result is an ice cream headache. Ice cream headache. 1. The front part of the palate is a bone, soft, nerve, fleshy. 2. This story is mainly about why we have nervous, why we eat ice cream, why we have one kind of pain, why we sometimes feel chilled. 3. From the story, you can tell that eating chocolate ice cream is no more likely to cause an ice cream headache than eating vanilla ice cream is much more likely to cause an ice cream headache than eating vanilla ice cream is much less likely to cause an ice cream headache than eating strawberry ice cream is much more likely to cause an ice cream headache than eating strawberry ice cream. 4. What word best fills in the blank? We tried to pass notes in class, but the teacher, our massages is sent, receive it, connected, intercepted. 5. Think about how the word alert relates to warning. What words relate in the same way? Alert, warning, a palate, mouth signal, massagic, flavor, ice cream, headache, forehead, ice cream, headache. Teacher created resources, Inc. 41. Number 8020 to nonfiction reading, science gur for quiz. After reading the story, answer the questions. Fill in the circle next to the correct answer. Number 8020 to nonfiction reading, science gur for 70 to teacher created resources, Inc. These are new words to practice. Say each word 10 times. Before or after reading the story, write one sentence that contains at least one new word. Explorers participate. Experiment intervals. Microorganism, microbes, deficiencies, health. Not bathing for 100 days. New words. Teacher created resources, Inc. 73. Number 8020 to nonfiction reading, science gur for 7 Arctic explorers were asked to participate in an experiment. When one participates, one joins and one is part of something. The experiment the explorers participated in had to do with bathing. Truth. The Arctic explorers did not bathe. They did not bathe for 100 days. The remaining 5 explorers bathed at regular intervals. They bathed at regular times at the end of the 100 days. All the explorers were checked. What were they checked for? The explorers were checked for microorganisms. A microorganism is a tiny creature. It is an organism that cannot be seen with the naked eye. It can only be seen with microscope. Esmachrysn are sometimes called microbes. Cannot see microbes, but we live with them. They live on us. They live in us. In fact, we have more microbe cells in and on our bodies that wedo human cells making up our bodies. We are outnumbered by microbes. Many people think, ugh, I'll get sick when they think of microbes. We call microbes that make us ill germs. The truth is that most microbes are not germs. Only 4% of microbes make us sick. This means that out of 100 microbes, only 4 are bad. We need microorganisms. Without microbes, we would have a vitamin deficiencies. One has deficiencies when one is less than what one needs. Our hearts would not be as strong, and we wouldn't be able to digest our food. Microorganisms help keep us healthy. What was the experiment's result? The result might seem surprising. The explorers who had bathed at regular intervals had no fewer microbes on their skin than the ones who had not bathed. The same number of microorganisms was found on the skin of the washed and unwashed explorers. The experiment results do not mean that people should not bathe. Think about how dirty someone would be if one did not bathe for 100 days. Most important, think of how one would smell. he or she would stink. The point is that herbities maintain a healthy balance with microorganisms. We are not harmed by most of them. Net bathing for 100 days. Store note: bathing for 100 days. 1. This story is mainly about a health explorer CC experiments microorganisms too. What is true about the number of microbial cells in and on herbities? A. We have less microbial cells than human cells. We have more microbial cells than human cells. C. We have less microbial cells than human cells only if we bathe. D. We have more microbial cells than human cells only if we bathe. 3. Think about how the word participate relates to join. What words relate in the same way? Participate, join, a bathe, wash, smell, dirt, maintain, balanced results, experiment for. We need microorganisms to make vitamins, harm our heart. C. Keep from stinking, help digest our food. 5. The bell rang every hour. The bell rang at regular cells, balances, intervals, deficiencies.
From the Lego game in the two-dimensional world to the Lego game in the three-dimensional world. 1. Introduction. The universe seeding theory and cellular automaton. Von Neumann, one of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century, proposed several groundbreaking theories that have shaped fields such as mathematics, computer science, and physics. One of his most intriguing and speculative ideas was the universe seeding theory, which posits that intelligent life could potentially replicate itself and spread across the universe using self-replicating systems. The key concept behind this theory is the universal constructor, a self-replicating machine that could reproduce itself by building copies of its components. This idea is closely linked to cellular automata, mathematical models that use simple rules to create complex behaviors, and they have since become a cornerstone in understanding both artificial life and natural phenomena. The following sections will explore the universe seeding theory, the cellular automaton theory, and how these two concepts are intertwined. We will also delve into the work of Demis Hassabis, a leading AI researcher whose studies in cellular automata are driving forward the future of artificial life and human longevity. 2. John von Neumann's universe seeding theory. The universe seeding theory proposed by von Neumann suggests that intelligent life can replicate itself through the construction of self-replicating machines, which he called universal constructors. These machines, once built, could create duplicates of themselves, ultimately allowing life forms to spread across the cosmos. The most famous theoretical example of this is the idea of a spacefaring probe, which could travel to distant planets, land, and then replicate itself to continue its journey. Von Neumann's theory was rooted in his studies of automata and computation, and he was one of the first to recognize that self-replication, a hallmark of life itself, could be engineered through mathematical systems. This theory proposed that a self-replicating system could serve as the seed of life, spreading across the universe by constructing copies of itself on distant worlds. Von Neumann's universal constructor was a theoretical model of a machine capable of using simple instructions to construct its own components. This idea has parallels to cellular automata, a model that simulates complex systems using simple rules. Von Neumann's work laid the foundation for much of the later development of computational theory, particularly the idea that life could be seen as an algorithm, one that could be replicated and spread through computation. 3. Understanding cellular automata, a mathematical approach to life. Cellular automata are mathematical models used to simulate complex systems, and they have their roots in the work of mathematicians like John von Neumann and Stanislaw Ulam. A cellular automaton consists of a grid of cells, each of which can be in one of several states. The cells evolve in discrete steps according to simple rules that depend on the states of neighboring cells. Despite the simplicity of the individual rules, cellular automata can exhibit incredibly complex behaviors, such as patterns that evolve over time, self-replication, and even emergent intelligence. The most famous example of a cellular automaton is Conway's Game of Life, developed by British mathematician John Conway in 1970. It is a zero-player game, where the evolution of the grid is determined by the initial configuration. The rules of the game are simple. A live cell with 2 or 3 neighbors remains alive. A dead cell with exactly 3 neighbors becomes alive. Over time, these rules can give rise to intricate patterns, some of which can even replicate themselves, mimicking the process of life itself. These ideas are a direct application of von Neumann's theory of universal constructors, showing how simple systems can create complex, life-like behaviors. In a metaphorical sense, cellular automata are like a Lego game in 2 dimensions. Each cell can be thought of as a brick that fits together with its neighbors to form larger, complex structures. These simple rules allow for an infinite variety of behaviors to emerge, from stable patterns to self-replicating configurations, making cellular automata a powerful tool in the study of artificial life and complex systems. 4. The connection between the universe seeding theory and cellular automata. The connection between von Neumann's universe seeding theory and cellular automata lies in the concept of self-replication. Von Neumann's idea of a universal constructor is akin to the self-replicating patterns found in cellular automata. Cellular automata offer a simple, mathematical model for understanding how self-replicating systems could operate in a controlled environment. Through cellular automata, it is possible to simulate the process of self-replication, where one system creates copies of itself. In cellular automata, particularly in von Neumann's own work on self-replicating automata, he demonstrated that it is possible to construct patterns that can replicate themselves in a 2-dimensional grid. This idea laid the foundation for thinking about the possibility of artificial life forms that could evolve and propagate through computation. Von Neumann's theories about self-replicating machines can be thought of as an abstraction of the cellular automaton model, with the key difference being that cellular automata are mathematical models that can simulate such processes on a computational grid. The work on self-replication in cellular automata directly ties into von Neumann's universe seeding theory, offering a mathematical framework for how life, or at least lifelike processes, could spread and replicate across the universe. 5. Demis Hassabis, a pioneer in AI and cellular automatamus. Hassabis, the CEO of Google DeepMind, is one of the most innovative minds in the world of artificial intelligence. While Hassabis's career has focused primarily on AI and machine learning, he has also shown a keen interest in cellular automata and their potential applications in understanding complex systems. Hassabis is known for his work on AlphaGo, an AI system that defeated world champions at the ancient Chinese game of Go, but his broader vision includes exploring the intersections of AI, life, and computation. Through his work with DeepMind, Hassabis has pushed the boundaries of what AI can do, tackling problems from protein folding to the simulation of life-like processes. While Hassabis may not have directly focused on von Neumann's universe seeding theory, his research on AI systems and self-learning machines shows how far-reaching the ideas of self-replication and artificial life have become. He believes that AI systems, like cellular automata, can be used to model life and replicate processes in a controlled environment, with the goal of extending human life and improving biological systems. 6. The role of cellular automata in Hassabis's AI research. Hassabis's contributions to artificial intelligence can be linked to the concepts explored in cellular automata. One of the key aspects of cellular automata is their ability to simulate complex behaviors from simple rules. Similarly, Hassabis's work on DeepMind involves using AI to simulate complex systems, from biological processes like protein folding to cognitive systems like human thinking. In Hassabis's research, cellular automata serve as a model for how complex behaviors can emerge from simple interactions. This is particularly important in the study of artificial life and AI. Hassabis's reinforcement learning algorithms, which allow machines to learn from their environment and adapt, echo the way cellular automata evolve over time based on their initial conditions and rules. By exploring cellular automata, Hassabis can better understand how simple systems can evolve into more sophisticated and intelligent processes, contributing to the advancement of AI. 7. AI and cellular automata. The path to extending human life. Hassabis's work with AI and cellular automata holds immense potential for extending human life. One of the challenges of extending life is understanding the fundamental processes that drive aging and disease. Cellular automata, as mathematical models of lifelike processes, provide a useful framework for simulating biological systems and identifying ways to improve them. Through the simulation of protein folding and the study of genetic processes, Hassabis has contributed to the field of biotechnology in ways that could extend human life. By combining AI with cellular automata, he believes it is possible to simulate and manipulate biological systems to not only repair damaged cells, but also to enhance human longevity. In his view, the combination of AI and cellular automata could lead to breakthroughs in extending human life by centuries, potentially achieving immortality through engineered systems. 8. The future of immortality, AI, cellular automata, and the quest for eternal life. Hassabis' ultimate vision is that AI and cellular automata will lead to the possibility of immortality. By simulating and replicating biological processes, it may one day be possible to reverse the aging process and prolong human life indefinitely. Through his work on AI, Hassabis is laying the groundwork for a future where human biology can be manipulated and optimized to achieve unprecedented longevity. By 2049, Hassabis predicts that these technological advancements could allow humans to live for centuries, if not longer, through a combination of cellular automata-based simulations and advanced AI systems. The key to achieving eternal life may lie in the fusion of AI, computational biology, and the principles of self-replication found in cellular automata. Demis Hassabis' Lego game of protein in the three-dimensional world, the visionary behind immortality through AI and cellular automata. 1. Introduction. Demis Hassabis and his vision for the future. Demis Hassabis, CEO of Google DeepMind, is a leading figure in the world of artificial intelligence. His contributions to AI are unparalleled, making him one of the most influential minds in the field. Known for his work on the DeepMind AI that beat human champions in games such as Go, Hassabis' innovative thinking has led him to explore even deeper scientific questions, such as the nature of life, intelligence, and longevity. One of his lesser-known but fascinating interests is cellular automata, which he has studied extensively. Hassabis believes that the study of cellular automata could unlock the secrets to creating intelligent, immortal life forms and even extending human life to potentially hundreds of years. 2. Cellular automata, a mathematical model for life and reproduction. Cellular automata (CA) are mathematical models used to simulate complex systems through simple rules and patterns. First proposed by John von Neumann, these automata are used to model the behavior of cells in a grid. The beauty of cellular automata lies in their simplicity. Each cell follows a basic rule that determines its state based on its neighbors. Despite this simplicity, cellular automata can generate highly complex and sometimes unpredictable behaviors. Hassabis, fascinated by their potential, has extended this theory to explore the possibility of creating immortal, self-replicating life forms, a process that could fundamentally change how we think about life and its extension. 3. The concept of immortal two-dimensional life forms. In his studies, Hassabis discovered the possibility of creating two-dimensional life forms that could replicate endlessly. These cellular automata-based life forms, similar to von Neumann's universal constructors, are capable of infinite reproduction and evolution, opening the door to a new form of intelligent life. This discovery is groundbreaking because it suggests that life, as we understand it, could be replicated or extended indefinitely through mathematical processes. Hassabis' work in this area has laid the foundation for future research into extending these two-dimensional life forms into 3 dimensions, which would be the next logical step in achieving human immortality. 4. The evolution from two-dimensional to three-dimensional immortality. Building on his work with two-dimensional cellular automata, Hassabis proposed the concept of upgrading these self-replicating life forms into three-dimensional intelligent life. By expanding the theoretical framework to include three-dimensional cellular automata, he believes that it's possible to create a version of immortal human life. This transition from two-dimensional to three-dimensional life would not only represent a technological leap, but could pave the way for extending human life through engineered systems. Hassabis's idea is that by replicating the cellular processes of human biology within a three-dimensional space, we could potentially create immortal, sentient human beings. 5. The power of AI software engineering in biological simulation. Despite lacking formal training in chemistry, biology, or medicine, Demis Hassabis has used his expertise in AI software engineering to make major breakthroughs in simulating biological systems. By utilizing AI to model protein folding, Hassabis has contributed to solving one of the most significant challenges in modern biology. In 2024, Hassabis and his team at DeepMind received the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for their work on protein folding, a monumental achievement that could revolutionize drug development, disease prevention, and human longevity. This accomplishment is one of the many ways in which AI is bridging the gap between theoretical concepts and practical, real-world applications. 6. The role of LEGO games in simulating the human body. For Hassabis, cellular automata are not just abstract theoretical models, they are akin to a LEGO game for the biological world. In a similar way to how a child constructs complex structures from simple Lego blocks, Hassabis believes that the building blocks of life, such as proteins and cells, can be modeled and constructed using AI software. Through this approach, scientists can simulate complex biological systems and identify ways to repair, enhance, or even extend the biological processes that govern aging. Hassabis's use of LEGO games to simulate life is not just an analogy, it is a powerful tool for understanding and manipulating the underlying principles of biology. 7. Extending human lifespan, a technological feat. The ability to simulate and model biological systems through AI has opened up new possibilities for extending human lifespan. With AI-driven models, scientists can manipulate and optimize the biological processes that lead to aging. Hassabis believes that the application of AI in simulating the human body could lead to solutions for preventing aging and extending life. By 2049, Hassabis predicts that these advancements could allow humans to live for centuries, with lifespans potentially extending to 500 years or more. This vision, while ambitious, is not entirely theoretical. It is based on real, actionable technological advances in AI and biotechnology. 8. The future of immortality, achieving eternal life. By 2049, Hassabis's ultimate goal is to use AI and cellular automata to achieve not just theoretical immortality but a tangible, engineered reality. He believes that by 2049, humans could achieve immortality through advancements in AI-driven biological simulations. This would not be a mere science fiction dream, but a practical achievement based on cutting-edge technology. By using AI to simulate and manipulate biological processes at the cellular and molecular levels, Hassabis envisions a world where aging and death are no longer inevitable. His vision of immortality could transform human existence, providing an entirely new understanding of life and longevity.
So our next speaker is Demis Hassabis. He was born 1976 in London, United Kingdom, and he received his PhD in 2009 from University College London. And he is presently the CEO of Google DeepMind, also based in London, United Kingdom. So please, Demis, we're looking forward to your Nobel lecture, and please join me in welcoming Dr. Hassabis.
Well, first of all, I want to start by thanking the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences and the Nobel Committee for the honor of a lifetime. It's so wonderful to see so many family and close friends and colleagues here today. It's been an amazing few days. I'm going to talk about AlphaFold, of course, and the impact it's had so far, but I'm also going to touch on the critical work we did in the lead-up to developing AlphaFold and where I think the future of AI for science is going more broadly. So my journey to AI actually started surprisingly with games, and specifically chess. I started playing chess when I was 4, and played very competitively, captaining many of the England junior chess teams growing up. That's a picture of me on the right, playing for board one for the England under-11 team when I was 9. And when you play chess seriously at such a young age, it's a very formative experience. And for me, it really got me thinking about thinking itself. I was sort of fascinated, intrigued by how does our mind come up with these ideas, these plans, these strategies, and how can that be improved? And as part of the training camps that we went to, we got actually access to early chess computers, like this one here, the Fidelity Chess Challenger. And some of you remember these early chess computers, you actually had to press the squares on the board physically, the LEDs on the board to move the pieces around. And of course, we were meant to use these machines to improve our chess skills. But I remember actually being fascinated by the fact that someone had actually managed to program this inanimate lump of plastic to play chess well against me. So I was intrigued about this, and I started reading some books about it, and ended up coding my first AI program on my trusty Amiga 500 that you'll see in the middle there when I was 11, but to play the classic game of Othello. And this program, my first AI program, it managed to beat my kid brother. Admittedly, he was only 5 at the time, but I was still amazed that you could make something that could do something sort of independently of you. And that got me hooked on computers and AI for the rest of my life. So fast forwarding then more than 20 years later, and games are still central to my approach to AI, and actually at the core of our early work at DeepMind. We started DeepMind in 2010 as an industrial research lab with a mission to build artificial general intelligence. And the vision behind it was to create a kind of modern-day Bell Labs. Initially, we used games as the sort of perfect proving ground for AI because it's very easy to generate a lot of data on your computers. You can have the systems play against themselves. And it's easy to specify a clear objective or clear metric to hill climb against. So in most games, you can specify to maximize the score or to just win the game. So it's very clear if you're making progress with your algorithmic ideas. Now, of course, the pinnacle for games AI, which has had a long history, actually from the beginning of AI. So pioneers like Alan Turing and Claude Shannon, they all tried their hands at making and programming chess computers. But the pinnacle for games AI is being Go, the game of Go, the ancient game of Go. It's probably the most complex game we've ever devised. One illustration of how complex Go is that there are 10 to the power 170 possible positions, which is more than there are atoms in the universe. So there's no way you could write a program that could brute force a solution to playing Go well. So our first big breakthrough really was major breakthrough was in 2016 with our AlphaGo system that managed to beat the world champion, the South Korean Grandmaster Lee Sedol 4-1 in a famous match in Seoul. But it didn't just win the match. Importantly, it actually came up with new creative strategies and ideas that had never been seen before, even though we've played Go for thousands of years. And the most famous one of these new strategies was actually Move 37 that I'm showing here in the bottom right. And in game 2 of this challenge match, and it's outlined as the black stone outlined in red. And this move had sort of never been seen before in top-level Go play. And it turned out to be the perfect move to decide this game 2 match 100 moves later, as if AlphaGo had put it there presciently ahead of time. So how did we do this? Well, the AlphaGo system and its successors, AlphaZero, more general successors, mastered the game of Go and also all other two-player games through a process of what we call self-learning. So that's where these systems, instead of being programmed directly with solutions, they learn strategies and solutions for themselves. In this case, by playing many hundreds of thousands, in fact millions of games against itself, and incrementally learning from its mistakes and improving its strategies. And through this process of self-learning, we can build up a useful neural network model of Go. So AlphaGo and this 2016 result was a bit of a watershed moment, I think, in modern AI, as it was the first kind of big proof point that these sorts of systems, these kind of learning systems, were able to do something pretty impressive and thought to be intractable. So with these neural network systems, this neural network model, we can actually efficiently guide the search process so that we don't have to search all of the possibilities in a game like Go or in any kind of complex space. So in this cartoon diagram here, I'm showing a tree of possibilities in a Go game. And if you imagine each node in the tree is a particular Go position, and you have to make a decision about which move to take, and that takes you down this tree. So there's this massive set of intractable set of possibilities from any particular Go position. And what this neural network model allows you to do, AlphaGo to do, was to only analyze and look at and consider a tiny fraction of all the possible paths. So here, kind of illustrated in the paths in blue. And it does this by basically figuring out what are the most likely moves, what are the most promising moves to look at in any particular position, and also which side, black or white, is likely to win from the current position, and the probability, the estimated probability of winning from that position. And then once the thinking time has run out, say a minute or two, then it outputs the best line it's found so far, the most optimal line it's found so far out of the ones it's considered, out of those blue lines. And here in this case is the line colored in purple. So now that we've sort of cracked the pinnacle of games AI, we sort of knew that we had the techniques and methods to now transport that and tackle important real-world problems, including big challenges in science. So what then makes for a suitable problem for these kind of AI methods to tackle? Well, we look for kind of 3 criteria that make a problem suitable. Number one, finding a path through a massively combinatorial search space. Can the problem be couched in these terms? Secondly, can we specify a clear objective function or metric to optimize or hill climb against? So in games, this is pretty easy. It's winning the game or maximizing the score. And then thirdly, are there a lot of data available to learn the neural network model, and ideally but it could be or, an accurate and efficient simulator to generate more synthetic data in distribution? So it turns out, actually, when you look at problems in this way, there are a lot of real-world problems that actually fit this profile, or can be made to fit this profile, including many problems in science. And for me, the number one thing I always wanted to do with these kinds of systems was protein folding. It was always top of my list ever since I first came across it as this fascinating problem as an undergraduate at Cambridge. So as you heard earlier, proteins are the building blocks of life. Almost all biological processes and every living thing depend on proteins for their operation, from the twitching of your muscle fibers to the firing of your neurons. So in essence, you can think of proteins as these kind of exquisite nanoscale biomachines. And they're, of course, extraordinarily beautiful as well. So proteins, as we heard earlier, are specified by their amino acid sequence, which you can see an example of one here on the left. And these sequences fold up into complex 3D structures. For example, this one here folds into this beautiful structure on the right. So you can think of it like a string of beads that kind of scrunch up into a ball. And knowing the 3D structure of a protein tells you a lot about its function, and is, of course, critical for things like understanding disease and accelerating drug discovery. So the question then is, can the 3D structure of a protein be directly predicted solely from its one-dimensional amino acid sequence? And in his Nobel lecture in 1972, Christian N. Feinson famously conjectured that this should theoretically be possible. And he advanced his thermodynamic hypothesis, the idea that a protein would uniquely take the shape that minimizes the free energy in the system. This then became known as the protein folding problem and kicked off a kind of 50-year quest to find a computational solution to this grand challenge. So why is this problem so hard? Well, of course, the normal way that you would go about finding the structure of a protein is doing it experimentally. And this is very painstaking and difficult work. And it can often take years, months, and even years of work to just determine the structure of even a single protein. And Leventhal actually encapsulated this difficulty very well in what became known as Leventhal's paradox. And he estimated that for a typical size protein, there may be up to 10 to the power 300 possible conformations that that protein can take, a truly astronomical number. So obviously enumerating all of these possibilities would take longer than the age of the universe. And yet somehow, in nature, these proteins fold spontaneously, sometimes in a matter of milliseconds. So that gives us hope, really, that there must be a solution to this, because it must mean that there's some topology in the kind of energy landscape that guides the folding process very efficiently in nature. And perhaps we can recover what that process is. Another key aspect of why we took on this challenge was that there was readily available data to learn from, and also, very importantly for AI development, very clear and great benchmarks to try and measure your progress against. So after decades of experimental work, 170,000 roughly structures had been determined experimentally through lots and lots of painstaking work for tens of thousands of experimentalists, and collated into the Protein Data Bank, the PDB, which is an incredible and valuable resource that we used as the starting point to train AlphaFold. And then secondly, there was the CASP competition, which was considered to be the gold standard benchmark for structure prediction, and was run every 2 years, ever since 1994, by Professor John Moult and his colleagues, and to test the best computational systems. And the beauty of this competition was that it's a blind assessment competition. So the proteins that you're trying to predict computationally the structures have just been discovered experimentally, but have not yet been published. So no one external from those groups knows what those structures are. So it's a true test of whether these computational systems are capable or not. And we're always told that the critical threshold for a computational system like this to be of use to practical use to experimentalists was that you had to get the accuracy down to within the width of an atom. So on average, less than 1 angstrom error, which is incredibly a high degree of accuracy. So with AlphaFold 2, we managed to achieve this atomic accuracy. We started off with AlphaFold 1 back in 2016 and entered it for the first time in CASP 13, the 13th edition of CASP, in 2018. And we really advanced the field here. And if you look at this bar chart of progress, this is basically the winning score for the top team each edition of CASP as a kind of distance measure of how accurate the prediction is compared to the ground truth. And you can see for about a decade prior, there hadn't been much progress in increasing the accuracy of these predictions. So with AlphaFold 1, it topped the leaderboard of the CASP 13 competition and improved the predictions by a large amount. And it was really the first time that a machine learning system was introduced that had machine learning as the core component of the system. But we still hadn't reached atomic accuracy, which is sort of represented by the 90 GDT score line here on the chart. And we were able to do that by taking the learnings from AlphaFold 1, then re-architecting a brand new system with AlphaFold 2, and entering that into CASP 14, and that reached the atomic accuracy needed and led the organizers of the competition to declare the problem essentially solved. So this is the diagram of the innovative architecture of AlphaFold 2. I'm going to leave John to cover some of the technical details of this in his talk, but the high-level thing, that takeaway is that actually there was no silver bullet to solving this problem. AlphaFold 2 actually had to incorporate over a dozen different innovations into quite a complex, what we call a hybrid system. And one of the key things of that was to build in evolutionary and physical constraints into the architecture along with the learning components of the system, and sort of combining those two elements elements together. And it was key to that the fact of this working is that the AlphaFold team was a multidisciplinary team composed of expert biologists and chemists, as well as machine learning and engineering. And it was a full end-to-end system that started with the amino acid sequence and directly output the 3D structure prediction. And it used this sort of recycling stage that allowed it to iteratively refine the prediction over many iterative steps. So you can see that happening here with this complex protein that was actually in the Cas14 competition. You see it on the left-hand side, the ground truth in green and the prediction in blue, very much overlapping. And then on the right-hand side, you can see how AlphaFold 2 sort of iterates over 192 steps in this case to the final predicted structure, each time improving its accuracy. So then with AlphaFold, once we had the system, of course, we wanted to make the maximum impact possible with it. And AlphaFold is not only very accurate, but it's also very fast. And we sort of quickly realized that it was fast enough to actually practically be able to fold all proteins known to science. So roughly over 200 million proteins that have we know the sequences for, and we would love to know the structures for. And so over the course of the next year, we on our computers, we basically folded all the 200 million proteins. We open sourced AlphaFold, and we built the AlphaFold database with our fantastic colleagues at EBI, the European Bioinformatics Institute, and we provided them free and unrestricted access for everyone to use to all these predicted structures. Of course, we were cognizant about safety and ethics, so we consulted with over 30 biosecurity and bioethics experts before we put the database out to ensure that the benefits far outweighed any risks. And the impact so far has been beyond what we could have imagined. With over 2 million researchers from around the world have made use of AlphaFold and its predictions, over 30,000 citations, and it's very much become a kind of standard tool in the biology toolkit. Just a small sampling of some of the progress that AlphaFold has helped to accelerate across actually a huge range of problems. And some of my favorites, tackling plastic pollution with designing new enzymes, helping with neglected diseases for underfunded diseases that affect a lot of the poorer parts of the world, helping with fundamental structural biology, things like determining the structure of the nuclear pore complex, and even just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, discovering new mechanisms in reproduction. And I think very much we're just at the beginning of the impact that programs like AlphaFold will make. Of course, we've been continuing on with developing AlphaFold, and just earlier this year we released the newest version of AlphaFold, AlphaFold 3. And this is also a big advance because with AlphaFold 2, you can think of it as essentially solving the static picture of a protein and what the structure of it looks like. But of course, we know that biology is incredibly dynamic. And actually, all the interesting things happen in biology when different aspects of biology interact with each other. And AlphaFold 3 is our first step towards modeling the interactions and the dynamics. And it's actually able to model pairwise interactions between proteins and other proteins, but also proteins and RNA, proteins and DNA, and proteins and ligands. So this is a big step towards what one would need to use AlphaFold for things like drug discovery. So I just want to end with a last section on zooming out a bit and talking a little bit about the implications of this kind of work and some of our colleagues on the bigger picture of AI for scientific endeavor. So if we take a step back and look at the essence of what our systems been doing, both AlphaGo, AlphaFold, and some of the other systems that we've built. And really, we can describe them as finding the optimal solution in this enormous combinatorial search space. And we do that by learning a model of that environment, either from data or from simulation, and then using that model to guide a search process according to some kind of objective function that you're trying to optimize. And it turns out that this is a very general solution and that many problems can fit this approach. So I showed you earlier this tree diagram of finding the best Go move in a Go game. But one could easily switch out those nodes of Go positions for actually chemical compound designs. And now think about the tree of search that you're doing is finding the best molecule or the best drug compound through chemical space. And I think you could very much use the same kind of techniques that I've outlined here for this kind of problem. So that means, if we may be entering perhaps this new era of what I like to call digital biology. I've always thought of biology at its most fundamental level can be thought of as an information processing system, albeit a phenomenally complex and emergent one. And I think it's such a complex system, it's going to be hard to boil down the workings of biology to a few mathematical equations. So I think maths has been an incredible tool to describe sort of description language for physical phenomena, for physics. And I think in the same way, AI may be potentially the perfect description language for biology. And we hope that AlphaFold is a kind of proof point that could, when we look back maybe in 10 or 20 years' time, maybe helped usher in this new era of digital biology. And we're trying to contribute to that, where we recently spun out, a couple of years ago, Isomorphic Labs, a new company to build on AlphaFold and to reimagine the drug discovery process from first principles with AI. And perhaps we can reduce down drug discovery, which is an incredibly difficult and time-consuming and expensive process, down from years to perhaps months, or maybe even one day, weeks. And we sometimes think of this kind of accelerated process that I've just shown you with AlphaFold and the protein structures, and perhaps one day will happen with drug discovery, as sort of doing science at digital speed. And I've had a long-standing dream, actually, to think maybe one day be able to simulate a whole virtual cell, not just a protein or a couple of proteins interacting with each other, but an entire cell, and then those predictions would be useful for experimentalists. So perhaps I'll end then, given this is a Nobel lecture, I thought I would end with a couple of new, perhaps slightly provocative ideas in the spirit of Christian Anfinsen and his 1972 lecture. So ever since doing AlphaGo, actually, I've been thinking a lot about what are the limits of classical systems, classical computing systems. I think there's a big debate going on at the moment in computing circles about quantum computers versus classical systems. And I think classical Turing machines, basically the underpinnings of modern computers today, I think can do a lot more than we probably previously thought. And how can they do that? Well, they do that by perhaps doing this massive amount of pre-compute ahead of time and use that to develop a good model of the environment, a good model of the problem that you're trying to solve. And then you can use this model to efficiently explore solution space in polynomial time, what's called polynomial time in complexity theory, so an efficient amount of time. So I sort of loosely proposed conjecture that I'm thinking about is that maybe any pattern or structure that can be generated or found in nature can be efficiently discovered and modeled by a classical learning algorithm. That doesn't mean everything, all quantum systems, because there'll be lots of things that don't occur in nature that have no pattern or no underlying structure to learn. So for example, factorizing large numbers or abstract problems like that. But I think systems in nature, like proteins and perhaps materials, will potentially have structure that can be learned by these kinds of processes that I've outlined today. And if it turns out that classical systems then, therefore, can model some types of quantum systems, I think that could have some quite big implications for areas like complexity theory, including P equals MP, and maybe even some aspects of fundamental physics, like information theory. So with that, I just wanted to talk about the final piece, which is that I've talked a lot about AI here for biology and life sciences, but actually we're doing a lot of work at DeepMind across the sciences, medicine, climate, mathematics. And here's just a little selection of some of the work we've done in the last few years, applying some of the AI techniques I've talked about today to medical areas like image analysis and diagnosis of medical images, genetic sequences and spotting missense variations, whether they're benign or pathogenic, controlling the fusion, the plasma in a fusion reactor, coming up with faster algorithms like matrix multiplication, state-of-the-art weather prediction systems, and the discovery of thousands of new materials that we'd never seen before, all using AI as a fundamental tool underlying the sciences. So I think with this, we may be entering a new golden era of discovery, helped by these new types of powerful AI tools. Now, of course, I've worked my whole life on AI because I think it has the incredible potential to help with humanity's greatest challenges. But also, AI is a dual-purpose technology, and it must be built responsibly and safely and be used for the benefit of everyone. And in order to do that, I think it's critical for scientists and technologists at the lead of this field to engage with a wide range of stakeholders, from government to academia and civil society, to incorporate all of the views of how these systems should be deployed and best used. And I think a technology as transformative as AGI will be, I think this will be akin to something like the invention of fire or electricity, requires exceptional care and foresight to steer us through the next stages of the development of this incredibly powerful technology. But if we're able to steward this technology safely through, then I think AGI could end up being the ultimate general purpose tool to help us understand the universe around us and our place in it. So I just want to end, of course, by thanking the amazing and incredible AlphaFold team, almost all of whom are here today, and the AlphaGo and AlphaZero teams, our wider colleagues at DeepMind and Google for all of their incredible support and infrastructure that supports all of this work that you've seen today, our wonderful collaborators at EMBL EBI, the CASP community, and the PDB and experimental biology community. And of course, lastly and most importantly, I want to thank my wonderful family, closest friends and colleagues, all of whom are here today, for their love, support, and encouragement, without which none of this would have been possible. Thank you.
This is called a Langton loop. It's a special kind of cellular automaton, and it can make copies of itself. In this video, we'll talk about what a cellular automaton is and how the Langton loop works. To understand what a cellular automaton is, let's look at one of the earliest and simplest ones. Imagine your world as a grid of cells, like this. Each cell has a state, alive or dead. Now that one is alive. Now that one is alive. What if we had some rules to decide when a cell turns on or off? To figure out what a cell should do, we look at the cells surrounding it, its neighbors. John Conway came up with a simple set of rules he called the game of life. To figure out what a cell will do next, you just count how many live neighbors it has. Every cell has 8 neighbors. This cell in the middle has 5 live neighbors. This cell has only 1 live neighbor. Dead cells have 8 neighbors too. This cell has 2 live neighbors. So what are those rules? They're based on how many live neighbors a cell has. That decides what it will do next. Rule 1. If a cell is live, and it only has 1 or no live neighbors, then it dies due to loneliness. Rule 2. If a cell is live, and it has 4 or more live neighbors, then it dies due to overcrowding. Rule 3 follows from the first 2 rules. If a cell is live, and it has 2 or 3 live neighbors, then that's just right, and it stays alive. What about dead cells? Can they do anything? Yeah, Rule 4 says that if a cell is dead, and it has exactly 3 live neighbors, then it is born into life as if by reproduction. Where this gets interesting is that we don't just apply the rule to one cell. We apply it to its neighbors as well, and their neighbors. We apply it to every cell in the grid to see what the next generation will look like. Then we apply it to every cell again to see what the next generation looks like. Sometimes things get really chaotic, and sometimes we find repeating patterns. The beauty of this cellular automaton is that with just a few simple rules, complex patterns emerge. What do you think happens to this structure? The middle cell is happy. It has 2 live neighbors, so it stays alive. But the top and bottom one each only have 1 live neighbor, the middle cell, so they die. But look at the dead cells on the left and right. They each have 3 live neighbors, so they light up in the next generation. And if you repeat that process, we go back where we started. This is called an oscillator. Can you figure out what this one does? It's called a glider. People have been finding more and more figures that do interesting things. Conway's Game of Life isn't the only game in town. Other cellular automata have different rules, and more than just 2 states. In this cellular automaton, each cell has 8 states. Different state, different color. Researchers have been studying cellular automata that allow figures to make copies of themselves. Over the decades, they have been trying to simplify how many states and how many rules you need to create self-replicating figures. In 1984, Christopher Langton said, "I only need 8 states and 219 rules. And then this figure will self-replicate." But let's back up. We showed the 8 states already, but what would those 219 rules even look like? Like in the Game of Life, we figure out each cell's new state by looking at its neighbors. But we make a couple of tweaks. First, we ignore diagonal neighbors. That means, in this world, each cell only has 4 neighbors instead of 8. The second tweak is about how we describe each rule. We can write a rule as a 6-digit number. The first digit tells you the starting state of a cell. In this case, 1 means blue. The next 4 digits tell you the states of the neighbors in clockwise order: red, yellow, red, magenta. The final digit is the actual rule. It tells you what the new state of that center cell must be: magenta. So you think of the first 5 digits as a big if. If you see a blue cell surrounded in clockwise order by red, yellow, red, magenta neighbors, then that blue cell becomes magenta. And of course, each of those neighbors will have some rule that applies to them and changes them. With these rules in place, all we need is an interesting starting figure, like this. For each cell, we find the rule that matches its situation to figure out how it changes. We do it one at a time until we find the new state for every cell. Then do it all over again. And again. And keep on going. Something interesting starts to happen. It's like a red tube with colored cells moving inside. Those colored cells act like DNA. They invoke just the right rules so that they spin around, expand the tube, and eventually make copies of the entire figure. And those copies make copies, and those copies make copies forever. But we don't have that kind of time. What if we run this on a finite grid and connect the opposite sides? Kind of like that portal in Pac-Man. And do the same with the top and bottom sides. This means that when we look at the neighbors of a cell, if we're about to go over the edge, we wrap around to the opposite side. So the neighbors of this cell would be these. And the neighbors of this cell would be these. What would happen to the Langton loops if they replicated in a world like this? Notice as it gets big enough, the loops trapped inside stop replicating, and the loops on the outside keep on going. But since we're connecting opposite edges, this can't go on forever.
How to finally understand math with the help of Legos. Math is a dreaded four-letter word for millions of people across the world. Some of us overcome our fear of math as soon as we graduate high school and choose to major in liberal arts. However, some people develop a math phobia or math anxiety and live with it for years. Do you personally find math confusing? Hit the thumbs up button if so. It's okay to admit it. We've all been there. Brightside has decided to find a way to overcome this fear of bewildering numbers and formulas. We're going to help you and your kids understand math using your favorite childhood toy, Legos. Who doesn't love those? Getting started. Organize your Legos before you start playing, that is, learning with them. You can put them in separate bags based on color or the number of studs on them. A Harry Potter Lego figurine and a Lego palm tree might look cool, but they won't do much good during our fun lesson. So put them aside and remember that we only need Lego blocks for today's class. Now, once you've sorted out your Lego blocks, you're ready to learn math like never before. It can be understandable and fun, we promise. We'll start with some very basic concepts like adding, multiplication, and fractions. When you get to know your tiny, powerful tools better, we'll move on to the more complicated stuff. Some fun math tricks you'll definitely love. Let's go! We have some serious math to do. Counting down from number 14, total, part. With Legos, the idea of a total and its parts is way easier than staring at numbers on a page. There's probably no better way to explain it to your kids. Move the blocks around, put them side by side, and then separate them from each other. Use blocks of different colors to make it even more visually apparent. It's important to understand the total, part concept because it's the basis of everything else you'll be learning later on. Adding. What makes Lego bricks so perfect for learning how to add numbers? The dots on them. Feel them, touch them, count them, add them. Adding and subtracting. Let's make it a bit harder. Subtracting comes into play. Simple fractions. Have you ever met a person who said, "Fractions are my favorite thing in the world"? Neither have I. To most of us, the numerator and denominator sound more like something out of the Terminator movies. Well, that's all about to change. Once we understand what the whole is visually, we'll also know what its parts are. In our case, the 8-dot brick is the whole, or 1. The other small bricks help us to see the relationship between fractions and their whole. Number 10. Adding fractions. Adding fractions is the next challenge on our way to becoming math gurus. Watch and learn. Yep, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy when you actually get to visualize it. Number 9. Squaring numbers. This one has always had me scratching my head, and I don't have dandruff. It's so much better when you can see and count all the dots. Number 8. Multiplying. Multiplying our efforts while multiplying some numbers, here's how you can do it. Not bad at all, right? Number 7. Skip counting. Skip counting speaks for itself, but it's easier to skip things in reality than abstractly in your mind. Let's try skip counting by 2s up to 16. It helps us to understand the concept of multiplication. There are 8 2s, or bricks in our case, in a 16. Looks like we're ready to level up in this math learning game. We'll share some fun tricks. Yes, math can be fun. You wish you had known earlier. Many of them can actually make adult life much easier too. Six. Simple multiplication by 4. The trick here is to multiply your number by 2, and then multiply it by 2 again. Five. Division by 5. Dividing large numbers by 5 is, in fact, pretty simple. All you need to do is multiply your number by 2 and then move the decimal back one space. Ta-da! Number 4. Easily multiplying by 11. This one is pure numerical magic. Three. Subtracting from 1,000. There's an easy rule for subtracting from 1,000. Just subtract all the digits from 9 and the last digit from 10. Two. Finding a fraction of a whole number. We already know a thing or two about fractions, but how can you find a fraction of a whole number? That's a good one. It's a little harder to grasp the concept, but we have faith you'll pick it up in no time. And number 1. Finding the percentage of a number. Finding the percentage of a number is a skill any adult needs. Once you know it, never again will you be fooled by a 70% off sales item, because you'll know exactly how much that 70% really is. You'll also be able to mentally calculate the amount of tips to a T. It's all really straightforward. Divide both numbers by 10 and multiply the results. You're done. If you want to see more fun and simple math tricks, we've got just what you need. We'll share the link to our video with some pretty awesome tricks, like multiplying large numbers in your head, and even converting Celsius to Fahrenheit and vice versa. And now, how about we pay some respect to the almighty Lego, breaker of mathematic chains? Here are 10 short fun facts about this fun and helpful toy. Number 10. Lego was founded in 1932 in Denmark. Its name isn't just a random assortment of letters, but a combination of the first 2 letters of 2 Danish words, leg and goat, translate as play well. Fair enough, you can really play well with these cool toys. Number 9. The first Lego brick was created in 1958. The original is so perfect and universal that we can still connect it to bricks from today. Yes, all Lego bricks ever made are perfectly compatible with each other. Number 8. Lego bricks are not only perfectly compatible, they're also just plain perfect. Only 18 bricks per million are considered defective. 0.002 of a millimeter mismatch is already considered a disaster, which is pretty impressive, right? Thumbs up for the perfectionists at Lego. Number 7. There are 915,103,765 possible ways to combine 6 of the 8 studded Lego bricks. Have you tried all of them yet? Six. There is a man in the UK named James May who once built a legitimate house out of Lego bricks. It took him 3.3 million bricks and boatloads of effort, I imagine. There was even a fully functioning bathroom in the house. Lego wanted to get a hold of the house first, but it turned out to be too expensive to move it. Number 5. Everybody knows Lego also makes mini figurines, not just bricks. They produce around 340 million of them each year, which is enough to line them up from London to Beijing. That's a distance of 4,900 miles, in case you were wondering. 4. The tallest Lego tower ever was built in Delaware. It was over 112 feet tall and 11 stories high. It took its builders, some very devoted high school students, over 500,000 bricks to construct it. 3. Lego gave birth to a cool new job – master model builders. These people are the ones who put up all those unthinkable constructions at Legoland. Interested in applying for the job? 2. You might own some Legos, or you might not. That doesn't change the fact that there are around 80 of them for every person on the planet. They make a great Christmas present, which means around 28 sets are sold per second during the holiday season. And number 1. It turns out Lego has outperformed Goodyear and Bridgestone in the production of wheels. Mini wheels still count as wheels, right? 306 million of those are produced by Lego every year. We hope you enjoyed watching this video and that it showed you how math can be easy and fun. Just be sure to put away your Legos. We wouldn't want you stepping on those things in your bare feet. Ouch! If we've helped you with your math dilemmas or entertained you with some interesting facts, give this video a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to be the first to see our cool updates. Life is better on the bright side.
Hello everyone, today I'm gonna show you decimals in our daily life. I think this is Murray's store. I'm gonna check it out. Murray? Hi Andrea! Oh hey Murray! What do you want from my store? Oh, I want a chocolate milkshake, chocolate cupcake, a hamburger, and a blueberry pie, please. Okay, coming right up. Just wait there. I'm gonna cook the hamburger. Here's the hamburger. Oh, thanks, Mary. And here's the chocolate milkshake too, Andrea. This hamburger tastes so good. Here's the chocolate cupcake, Andrea. Oh, thank you, Mary. Oh, it tastes so good. Here's the blueberry pie as well. Oh, thank you. Oh, it tastes like blueberries. Okay, the total is hamburger cost $6.80, milkshake $5.30, cupcake $3.75, and the pie costs $4.50. Okay, here's the money. Thanks, Andrea. See you again soon. Bye. Bye, Murray. So now I'm gonna write down all the things that Andre bought, and then we're going to find the total money that she spent on. Now 0 plus 5 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. Then 5 is 3 plus 7 plus 5 plus 8 is 23. Regroup the 2 and then 2 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 is 20. And that's the total money she spent on. Now we're going to find how much change she got. So first she gave $100. So then $100 minus $20.35. First you'll regroup until the 5, and so you'll get $79.65. Thank you.
Hello, this is April Tarango, your math coach, and I just wanted to show you a cool way that you can use Legos to show conceptual understanding of fractions to your students. So we're going to use this Lego as the unit. That's going to represent one whole unit. Therefore, these two together would each represent a half. So I'm just going to write a half. Each of these is a half. Then I got 3 of these. So these are going to represent thirds. I'm going to put them over here. Each one of those is a third.
So if they did this,
also, we have these 4 that equal one whole unit. So these will be fourths. And they have these tiny ones over here, this size. Get them all. There's 6 of them that will equal one whole unit. So those are going to be sixths. So I'm going to put that over here, sixth. Okay, so these are going to be the Legos that we're going to work with today. And first we'll look at equivalent fractions, and then we're going to look at how to divide fractions using these Legos. Okay, so using these Legos, we're going to represent the equivalent fractions. 4/6 is equal to 2/3. So first I need my sixth. Remember, these little ones were the sixth. So I need 4/6. And I want to show that that's equivalent to 2/3. Here are my 2/3. Remember, we're using this as the whole unit. So that's 4/6. There's the other two. 4/6. And then this is 2/3. Right? So we want to show that 4/6 is equivalent to 2/3. Well, you can just set them side by side like this, or you could even do what kids would do if they were building with Legos. They would stack them. In fact, that's why I think Legos are an excellent manipulative to show things with fractions conceptually, because when you're building with Legos, you're always thinking about, like, I need one more Lego, I need 2 more Legos. So they're always thinking about how many Legos do they need. So it makes a lot of sense to use Legos to represent fractions. Okay, so now we're going to look at 2/4 and see how it's equivalent to 1/2. So here's the whole. Remember, these were the halves, so I'm going to put 1/2 over here, and then the fourths were these. So I'm going to pick 2/4 and 1/2 together to see how they're equivalent. See how they're the exact same size? You can even stack them on top of each other or set them next to each other to see that they're the same size. So 2/4 is equal to 1/2. Okay, now we're going to show you how to divide fractions using these Legos. We're going to divide 1/2 divided by 1/6. The important thing when you want to show division of fractions conceptually is that you should always word it how many sixths are in a half. It's important that you word it that way. Think of like if the problem were 15 divided by 3. You would say how many 3s are in 15. So it's going to work the same way. It's just important that you word it this way so they can get a good conceptual understanding of what we're talking about. So I'm going to take my half fraction. Here's my half. And the 1/6. 1/6. So this is 1/2 divided by 1/6. We just want to know how many 1/6 are in 1/2. How many of these would fit into there? And this is where, like I said, kids use Legos all the time. They're used to building on there, and they want to see how many of these would it take to cover this up. Well, there's 1, 2, 3. So it takes 3. The answer is 3. How many 1/6 are in 1/2? 3. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. 2/3 divided by 1/6. Remember, it's important to word it how many 1/6 are in 2/3. So I need to start with my 2/3, which were these 2/3, and my 1/6 was the little ones. We want to know how many 1/6 are in 2/3. How many of these does it take to match that? You can either set them underneath, side by side like that, or you could just build it on top. This time I'm going to set them underneath. So I want to see how many of those would it take to match. How many of those are in 1/6, or in 2/3, sorry. Okay, so let's try it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer would be 4. You can check to make sure by using the standard algorithm. But it's important not to do the standard algorithm first. You want to show them conceptually so they understand what they're doing, and then you can use the algorithm. It's kind of like a shortcut. It's like a trick to get the answer. It's not really, doesn't really give them good conceptual understanding to do this multiply by the reciprocal trick. So what do you get? 12/3, which is 4. Okay, last one. So remember, this was our whole unit, 1. So I need to find out how many 1/6 are in 1/4. 1/4 divided by 1/6 means how many 1/6 are in 1/4. This is my whole unit of 1. So these are fourths. We want to know how many, I'll use that one as my 1/4. That's 1/4. How many 1/6? How many of these are in there? Use a different color. Okay. How many of these are in there? How many 1/4 are in 1/6? So the tricky part about this one is that it doesn't quite go. It goes one time, but then you kind of need like more. Like how much more? You need like half of these, right? So it would go in there one time and like half of another one. So our answer then is 1 and 1/2. You can check by using the standard algorithm. Multiply by the reciprocal, you get 6/4, which is 1 and 2/4, which is 1 1/2. I think this was a lot easier than that, actually. If you kind of can use your conceptual understanding, you can figure it out.